Nice man.
Nice man named Marion. Is it really a man named Marion? Polish guy, and he had a son who was in some activity after school, so he was there. His son had fallen and broken his leg skiing, so he was on crutches, so the man had to pick up his son. So they got acquainted in that way, and they did date for many years. And they used to take us kids along. They'd go out to a restaurant, they'd take Archie and me, and whenever my band won a prize, we'd have to go to a contest or something. They'd all go together. Then it was nice for my mother. She got out to eat, got to restaurants, but the man had a sister who had been in an insane asylum. He had a mother who was very old, so he had a lot of responsibilities, family responsibilities. So he was in no hurry to get married because he had to take care of his family. And his son was a royal pain and very spoiled. So it didn't amount to much, although I think there was a time when they might have taken the step, but she didn't want that added burden and involvement with, his family. So it would have been nice because she would have had fewer money worries. But that was what happened with him. I think she may have had some other friends who just casually would come. She'd invite them to dinner. And the thing was, when you live in a small town like Brant, everybody, the neighbors, the postman, the storekeeper, if you smile at a man, they've got you married to him. The gossip mill is just overworking. So she was pretty shy about making any commitments because everybody gossips so much. They still do.
Yeah.
But I wish in some ways she might have made some commitment, but she was happy with Grandpa and Aunt May and the way things turned out. But
so tell us more about Cornell then. So you went there and you did it in 3 years, and this is where you met Nick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so tell us about meeting
So well,
him.
my mother rented an apartment, and it was fairly large, and I don't know what she paid for it, but she didn't have much money. So she came upon the idea that she'd have a boarding house. She'd make nice meals, and she'd get some people that would come and eat with us. So we were on the 3rd floor, and somebody on the 2nd floor had a student living with them named Glenn. So we got Glenn to come and eat with us. Then we got another boarder for one of our rooms named Viola. She ate with us. Then the first year we had a girlfriend of mine from high school named Mary. So we always had about 5 people around the table. And my mother was a great cook. And of course she'd have to go in the morning and shop with her market basket and then decide what she was going to have for dinner and who was going to come. We had another guy, an old man named Mr. Dietz. I don't remember how he heard about her, but he loved the idea of eating with young kids, and lively give and take conversation. So the problem was that my mother put on such fabulous meals, she lost money. She was not making a profit. She was giving them extra large portions, or being from the farm, if she would go home weekends, she'd come back with a car loaded with fresh tomatoes and all sorts of good stuff. So that lasted for a couple of years. But Mary dropped out of college, so we didn't have her anymore. Viola got married. I don't know how long Mr. Dietz stuck around, but we'd usually have somebody eating with us, and that helped pay the rent. But then she gave up that apartment. We moved to a smaller place, which was very nice, but just tiny. And I met Nick about that time, I think.
It's okay.
But I took a course in sociology, which started at, it was an 8 o'clock. So I'd walk up from my apartment on on State Street and get to class about, it was a long walk, and Ithaca's hilly. So I'm walking up the hill to my class, sociology in Boardman Hall, and then I'm looking back, and here's another student trudging up the hill. And come to find out it's Lois, my friend Lois Humphrey, and she was going to the same class, and she was an Ithaca girl.
Did you know her, or this was the first time you met her?
First time I ever saw her.
Uh-huh.
But she was an Ithaca girl. Her parents lived right down the street. Her dad and her mother was, her mother had been married before, and this was an old man that she was married to, but that was Lois's father. So Lois trudged up, and I found out that we were both from off campus, and we're both taking the same course, so we hit it off immediately. And to get to our class, we had to walk past this student center, which was called Willard Straight Hall, and it was very Gothic architecture, a big imposing building, but they had a soda fountain in the bottom, up in the lower levels. And so we'd go to class, which was 8 o'clock. By 9 o'clock, we're back at Willard Straight drinking coffee or Coke, and we both smoked cigarettes occasionally. So we thought we were so cool. And then the library is right in that vicinity, so sometimes we'd go to the library and do our homework. But and then we were both in home economics, although she was in a different, I was going to be a teacher, so I had to take different courses. She was going to go into merchandising, so she was going to work for a big department store. But she met Gordy and fell in love with Gordy, and she didn't finish college, but they got married, and then she went back for another year, another term. So she got her degree, and we've been friends ever since. She's the one I travel with. But we had a lot of fun, and she had a cousin named Willie, and she was very, very fond of Willie. So when she was going to have a date with Gordy, she'd get Willie to come and take me along. And it was so embarrassing because Willie was, let's say overweight is putting it mildly. He was about a 300-pounder. Very nice, sweet guy, but when we went out to eat after the movie, we could hardly find a booth that he could fit into. His stomach just wouldn't fit. But he was good-natured, and he was quite fond of me. He was hoping that more things would happen. But Lois was a Methodist, and she was very interested in her church, which was in downtown Ithaca. So they had a program every Sunday evening for students. So, and that was how I met Nick. He was down and out on his luck, and his parents couldn't help him, so this was the only good meal he ate in some weeks, because we would make a nice dinner, and that was the inducement. And Lois worked in a meat market, so she'd get this wonderful meat, and we were in home ec. We knew how to cook. We thought we did. And we'd get these guys to come and eat and sing, and they had a shuffleboard court, they had ping pong tables. And then